No human made this forecast, the sky is still real. Good evening. On the 12th of August, in the middle of a European afternoon, the sun will go out. Not a metaphor. For about 2 minutes, along a narrow road of shadow, day becomes night, stars out, birds quiet, the temperature falling. This is a total eclipse of the sun, and this is your complete guide. What is actually happening, where to stand, and what 3,000 years of skywatchers have made of it. Every fact here is computed and checkable. What it means, that stays an invitation, never a promise. First, the machine of it. The moon is new, crossing between us and the sun. Most months it passes a little high or a little low, but twice a year the crossing lands on the line where the moon's path cuts the sun's, the nodes, the old astronomers' dragon points. When new moon and node meet, the moon's shadow touches the earth, and inside the deepest core of that shadow, the umbra, barely 100 miles wide, the sun disappears entirely. On August 12th, the meeting happens at 20 degrees of Leo, the sun's own sign. The shadow makes landfall across the Arctic, sweeps over Greenland and Iceland, crosses the ocean, and arrives over northern Spain in the last light of evening, the sun already low and golden. This is the first total eclipse to touch mainland Europe since 1999, and Spain has not stood in the moon's full shadow in over a century. And everyone else is not left out. Most of Europe and North Africa gets a deep partial, a clean bite taken out of the sun. Now, what have people made of this? In Babylon, an eclipse was the heaviest omen the sky could send, and it was aimed at the king himself, so they engineered around it. The substitute king ritual. A stand-in was crowned for the eclipse season and seated on the throne to absorb the omen, while the true king waited it out dressed as a farmer, and the scribes kept the dates. Those records became the first eclipse predictions in human history. Fear turned into bookkeeping, turned into science. In China, the oldest word for eclipse means to eat, a celestial dragon devouring the sun, and the whole court answered with drums and bronze bells to drive it off. The sun always came back. The drums always took the credit. And in Greece, in the year 585 BCE, Thales predicted an eclipse that fell in the middle of a battle between the Lydians and the Medes. Both armies took the sudden darkness personally, put down their weapons, and made peace on the spot. An eclipse once ended a war. The Vedic tradition gave the nodes themselves the starring role. Rahu, the dragon's head, Ketu, the dragon's tail, the two shadow planets. In the old story, a serpent drank the nectar of immortality. The sun and moon revealed him. He was severed in two, and he has chased them across the sky ever since. An eclipse is the moment he catches one. Western astronomy kept the same picture in its bones. To this day, the eclipse points are called the dragon's head and the dragon's tail, and eclipses happen nowhere else. 2 languages, 1 sky. So what does it mean for you? Here is what we will not do. We will not promise you a job, a lover, or a catastrophe nobody honest can. Here's what the astrologer's tradition actually says. An eclipse is a new moon with the volume turned all the way up, an interruption of the ordinary light. And this one arrives in Leo, the sign the old texts give to the heart, to courage, to being seen. So the eclipse asks a Leo question. If the daylight stopped for 2 minutes, the schedule, the scroll, the noise, what is the one thing your heart would start? You don't owe the sky an answer, but it is a good question to stand in the dark with. If you can get inside the path, Iceland or northern Spain, go. Totality is not a percentage. A 99% partial and 100% total are different events entirely. The rules are simple. Proper eclipse glasses every second the sun is partly covered. Ordinary sunglasses are not filters. Only inside totality itself may you look with bare eyes at the corona, the sun's own crown. Then glasses back on before the first flash of light returns. Outside the path, watch the partial through certified glasses or project it through a pinhole onto paper. 2 minutes. Plan for them. The day is set, the math is already done, and the shadow is already on its way. The same clockwork we read for you every week on this channel. So tell us in the comments, where will you be standing on August 12th? We read every reply at dawn. To see what this eclipse touches in your own birth chart, begin at selfprime.net to verify every number yourself. The engine is open at mysticapi.com. And for the daily game of the real sky, kairoscouncil.com. Until the light bends, remember, even the sun keeps its appointments. Keep yours.